Benson made two unreasonable demands of China: stop importing oil from Russia and Iran. The US didn't expect China to reject them so decisively. Trump's calculations were off. So, what's going on? According to the Washington Post, Trump demanded China stop buying oil from Russia and Iran. He threatened a 100% tariff on Chinese goods if China didn't comply. Trump was clearly trying to choke off China's energy supply, but China's response was direct. On the morning of August 4th, China explicitly rejected the US request to stop importing oil from Russia and Iran. During the China-US economic and trade talks that concluded at the end of July, Besant made two clear demands to the Chinese side: first, that China immediately stop purchasing Russian oil, and second, that it cut off all oil trade with Iran. These two demands from the US are simply wishful thinking. Why should China need America's approval for whom it buys oil from? Trump's little scheme is actually quite simple. After all this time, the Russia-Ukraine conflict has dragged on, and US sanctions against Russia have been basically ineffective. Russia is still making money as usual. So Trump set his sights on China, thinking that if he could get China to stop buying oil from Russia and Iran, then Russia's and Iran's wallets would shrink, and that would force them to give in. But to be honest, this time Trump has completely miscalculated. Right now, the oil China buys from Russia accounts for 47% of Russia's oil exports, and for Iran, it's over 90%. Plus, because of the sanctions, this oil is much cheaper than the market price. Just in the past few years, China-Russia oil trade has saved China more than $18 billion. Besides, China and Russia are comprehensive strategic partners, and China and Iran are also comprehensive strategic partners. Energy cooperation isn't just about buying and selling, it's a crucial part of their strategic partnership. How could China possibly sell out its close allies just because of threats from the US? When China didn't play along, Besant started getting tough, threatening to slap a 100% tariff on Chinese goods. That kind of threat sounds scary, but in reality, it's just posturing, because the US knows full well that if a real trade war breaks out, the one who'll suffer most is the US itself. After all, China holds the trump card of rare earths. America's chips, new energy, and military industries all rely on Chinese rare earths. If Trump really dares to impose a 100% tariff, China could easily restrict rare earth exports, and then America's high-tech industries would be dead in the water. And it's not even afraid of India. If the US threatens China, why would it be afraid of India buying about as much Russian oil as China does? The US has threatened India before, but India simply ignored them. Now that it's China's turn, the result will be the same. Trump will just run into a brick wall. The US simply lacks leverage to go head-to-head with China right now. China's energy demand is rigid, and Russian and Iranian oil is cheap and stable, so why should China give it up? Even if the US imposes sanctions, Russia and Iran both have massive shadow fleets that specialize in bypassing sanctions to do business. The idea that the US could completely cut off oil trade between China and Russia or China and Iran is pure fantasy. Trump's two demands totally overestimate his own power. First, he's touching China's red line on energy security. China will never compromise. Second, this harms China's core interests, so there's less chance China would agree. Third, the US lacks strength to force China to give in. The outcome of this game is Trump sheepishly withdrawing unreasonable demands. Because China has absolutely no room to back down on the energy issue, and the US doesn't have enough strength to go head-to-head. Trump wants to use the oil issue to choke China, but in the end, he'll only end up shooting himself in the foot. Sooner or later, he'll have to obediently return to the negotiating table. If the US still thinks it can use its old hegemonic tricks to pressure China, it should be ready to keep running into a brick wall.